In the unforgiving landscapes of the American frontier, water was more precious than gold. Pioneers, fur trappers and settlers faced days, sometimes even weeks, without a reliable source of drinking water. Streams ran dry in summer, snow and ice were difficult to access in winter, and stagnant pools carried disease. Yet, amidst this harsh environment, a simple water trick emerged that saved countless lives. It wasn't about complicated tools or modern filtration. It was about understanding nature, improvising with what was at hand, and using keen observation to locate and purify life-sustaining water. Today, we're going to uncover that frontier water trick, explore why it worked, and show how its principles can be applied in modern survival scenarios. Frontier survival depended on knowing where water hides. The first secret of the frontier water trick was location. Water isn't always obvious, but the landscape tells a story. Pioneers learned to read signs in the environment. Green vegetation in arid areas often indicated underground water. Animal tracks could lead to hidden springs, and valleys or depressions were more likely to collect rainwater. Seasonal patterns were also critical. Snowmelt in spring created temporary streams, while late summer required more skill to locate pockets of water in dry riverbeds. Today, anyone venturing into the wilderness can apply this principle. Observing vegetation, wildlife and terrain features helps locate water without relying solely on maps or GPS. The key is patience and attention to subtle environmental cues, just as frontier settlers relied on their knowledge of the land. Once water was found, purity was the next challenge. Frontier travellers knew that murky or stagnant water carried parasites and bacteria that could make them gravely ill. They often used simple filtration methods, passing water through cloth, sand or gravel to remove debris and reduce turbidity. This method didn't remove all pathogens, but it dramatically improved safety when combined with boiling or other purification methods. In practice today, carrying a piece of cloth or using natural fibres to strain water before boiling can replicate this technique. Even a clean bandana or a section of canvas can separate sediments and make water far safer to consume. For those practicing primitive survival skills, layering sand, charcoal and gravel creates a more advanced natural filter, echoing the ingenuity of frontier pioneers. Frontiersmen often boiled water over small campfires, understanding intuitively that heat could kill harmful microorganisms. They used whatever vessels were available, iron pots, tin cans or hollowed gourds, to bring water to a rolling boil. This step was the final safeguard, transforming questionable water into a reliable source of hydration. Modern survivalists can apply this lesson with minimal tools. A metal cup, a small pot, or even a sturdy tin can over a fire can make a few litres of water safe to drink. The principle is universal. Combining observation, filtration and heat creates a practical, low-tech method for safe hydration in the wild. Frontier pioneers also learned to augment water availability using natural collection methods. They dug shallow holes near riverbanks or vegetation to access groundwater, collected rainwater in depressions or containers, and harvested dew from plants early in the morning. Even snow and ice were harvested and melted, providing critical hydration in winter months. These methods weren't just convenient, They were often life-saving when conventional water sources were unavailable. For modern outdoor enthusiasts, these techniques remain relevant. Rainwater collection using tarps, improvised containers, or even plastic sheets mirrors what pioneers did instinctively. Early morning dew can be wiped from leaves with cloth or sponges and collected, and shallow groundholes can yield water in arid environments. Understanding these methods allows you to maximize the resources the environment provides. Frontiersmen also understood that some water sources were safer than others. Flowing streams were generally safer than stagnant ponds, and water near clean, well-drained soils was preferable to areas with decaying vegetation or animal activity. Observation was a critical part of safety. They could detect subtle signs of contamination, turbidity, or odour before committing to a water source. Today, the lesson remains: never take water at face value. Observe movement, clarity, and surrounding terrain. Combine filtration and boiling for a reliable method, and avoid any source that shows visible signs of contamination. Patience and careful assessment reduce risk and ensure survival. What made this technique revolutionary was its simplicity and adaptability. Frontier travelers didn't have modern pumps, chemical tablets, or bottled water. They relied on understanding natural processes, improvising with available materials, and observing their environment carefully. By combining location scouting, filtration, boiling, and natural collection techniques, they created a system that allowed them to survive for weeks in the wilderness. For modern survivalists, this method is a reminder that the most reliable tools are knowledge and observation. Even minimal equipment, when applied thoughtfully, can transform uncertain water sources into life-sustaining hydration. The frontier water trick teaches us that survival often depends less on gear and more on understanding and adapting to our environment. By locating hidden sources, filtering and purifying water, and using natural collection methods, pioneers turned scarcity into sustainability and stayed alive in some of the most challenging landscapes in history. If you found this dive into frontier ingenuity fascinating, subscribe to Backyard Wisdom for more explorations of historical survival skills and practical wilderness techniques. Share this video with fellow history buffs and outdoor enthusiasts, because these lessons from the frontier are as relevant today as they were centuries ago, offering timeless strategies for resilience and self-reliance.